What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Michael Cole feels terrible for a big mistake, Mickie James sends a message to Vince McMahon, 2 Charlotte Flairs in the WWE, The Undertaker's new role, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Our first story looks at Michael Cole feeling terrible for a big mistake. A SmackDown play-by-play announcer, Michael Cole has been with the WWE for decades, but he still makes mistakes. One big blunder occurred at WrestleMania 37 when he called the Banks vs Belair SmackDown Women's Championship match. There, Cole erroneously indicated Banks had kicked out when in fact Belair had pinned her to become the Blue Brand's new Women's Champion. Cole's former broadcast partner Corey Graves, who recently moved from SmackDown to Raw, spoke on his After the Bell podcast about what happened and Cole's reaction to his gaffe. If there's anybody that's truly unshakable, it's Michael Cole. Cole felt bad, he felt terrible, but I can relate. I almost thought the same thing from our vantage point. It was not crystal clear. I'm not making excuses because it was what it is. It didn't take anything away from the amazing moment. It was reality. It was a very genuine, real reaction. Take into consideration. Yes, we have the monitor. Yes, we have audio in our headphones, but we're also in a stadium full of 20,000 people. Now, mistakes happen, but did Cole's slip-up really ruin the match as some fans claim? Well, this is a question that fans will likely continue arguing about for the next few weeks, but there's no denying that Cole is a polarizing figure in the wrestling community, with fans divided as to whether Cole is a competent announcer or one of the worst announcers since Vince was on the announcers table in the 80s and 90s. But how'd you guys feel? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, RVD One More Match in WWE. And now that Rob Van Dam has been inducted into the Hall of Fame, is Mr. Monday Night ready to retire from the ring? Well, RVD recently spoke about his WWE future with Corey Graves during an appearance on the After the Bell podcast. I go with the flow of the universe. I don't know how to put odds on that. If you're talking about a one-off or something that's not full-time, I would think there's probably just as good of odds going forward as going against it. Now, the WWE would be fools not to book RVD into a one-night-only style match, but as our viewers know, the WWE's idea of what puts butts in seats often contrasts with reality. Would you guys like to see RVD wrestle one more match? And if so, who should he battle? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Mickie James's message to Vince McMahon. And Mickie James is gone from the WWE, but the 5-time Women's Champion and 1-time Divas Champion has nothing but great things to say about her recent run in Titanland. Mickie tweeted, "Grateful for the memories, grateful for the locker room, grateful for the fans, grateful for these little keys to my golden handcuffs. You can never expect others' vision of you to be as big as your own dreams. Thank you, Vince McMahon, #always blessed and grateful." Mickie was off the shelf for some time after undergoing reconstructive knee surgery in 2019. According to The Observer, she did get tryouts to be a television announcer, but that didn't go anywhere. Next up, The Undertaker talks a new role. Now that The Undertaker is officially retired from the ring, fans are curious as to what the icon has planned next. During an appearance on the Victory of Injury podcast, Taker discussed his future. WWE and I are working on some projects to do different things, obviously outside of the ring. I'd like to be in a position where I can be a little more hands-on with the young talent and mentor a little. I think I have a lot to offer, and I've always enjoyed talking X's and O's. I've talked a lot with Triple H about going down to Orlando and working with the guys. I still have the passion. I know my days are done making the slow walk, but I still have a passion and love the business and want to see the business continue to grow. The Undertaker's decades of experience main eventing make him a natural as a mentor for young wrestlers, and he may find he could be a talented coach or agent. Not everyone who excels at something is able to make the switch to teaching, but there's no doubt the Phenom has a lot to offer once he finds his niche. Next up, Keith Lee breaks his silence. Current Raw superstar Keith Lee has been off television since February, an eternity for fans at the Limitless One. The WWE has been keeping things quiet as to why the former NXT champion and former North American heavyweight champion is gone, but Lee isn't about to let his fans forget him. When a fan tweeted Lee that he missed him, the big man tweeted back, "I miss you guys as well as all the others that expressed this sentiment, whether it's in DMs, tweets, or comments. I miss you all, but do not fret, I will fight like no other to return, and when I do, we got a lot of ground to cover." Keith Lee is a wrestler whose nickname isn't hyperbole. Lee has the size and moves to main event in the WWE if the promotion's creative team gets his head on straight. Meltzer reported that Lee was supposed to win the US Championship at the Elimination Chamber, but as fans know, Lee was yanked from the match with John Morrison taking his place. Next up, a cancelled female faction. Unlike AEW, the WWE doesn't have many factions, and it hasn't had an all-female faction in some time. However, that almost changed as recently the WWE considered teaming 3 superstars. Chelsea Green, one of the many wrestlers Future endeavored on the 15th of April, spoke with Fightful Select, explaining how the promotion wanted her to team with Vanessa Bourne and Santana Garrett into a group described as the Pussycat Dolls meets Charlie's Angels. Do you think that would have worked? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, 2 Charlotte Flairs? Speaking of cancelled storylines, rumour has it that the WWE is planning a storyline involving Charlotte Flair taking on a protege. This isn't the first time that WWE would have booked a similar storyline, as Dana Brooke once served as the Queen's protege in 2016 and 17. Chelsea Green spoke with Fightful about some big things the WWE had planned for her. So to be called to TV was awesome, and then Triple H pulled me aside on April or May 2020, right before the pandemic, or right around that time, because we had just done a tag match, Charlotte and I versus Io and Rhea, and that was the day I got officially called up. I was just kind of starting to get a little momentum. Funny enough, when I was out there at the very end of the match, I heard Charlotte. Charlotte raised my hand and said something. She said something like, she's going to be next, or something along the line that made me think that I was going to be partnered with her, or I was going to be her protege. And then, is that the right word? Protege? Yeah. She went on to explain where she thought things were headed with her and the Queen, and then I kind of heard rumblings of that in the weeks after that I was going to be, I don't want to say the next Charlotte, but coming up behind her with her as my mentor, which is amazing. Like, I don't know if you could get a better spot than that, and then kind of radio silence until the next storyline I heard about a lot of storylines. This could have been a great way for Chelsea Green to establish herself on the main roster, but unfortunately plans were changed and Green broke her wrist the night she moved up to SmackDown, setting a main roster call-up back further. Would this have worked? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Mojo Rawley breaks his silence. And Mojo Rawley is gone from the WWE, but he doesn't seem bitter. Rawley recently tweeted, 9 years of fun, passion, and pure hype. Thank you all for getting and staying hyped with me. I love y'all so much. The next chapter officially begins on May 31st. While Mojo never main evented, he won the 2017 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and captured the 24/7 championship 7 times. But there you have it, guys, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.